Welcome to Inside Integration. Jason and I are excited to chat today with Jeff Lasch from ErgoAV, a company that's been turning heads with their innovative TV mounts, standing desks, and AV furniture. Jeff, it is great to have you on the show today. How have things been since CEDIA?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, things have been great since CEDIA. We've been really busy, actually. Including we launched a handful of new products, 3 of our new motion mounts featuring the new ISOtilt technology, and then 2 of our monitor mounts that have the built-in docking station. We showed both of those at CEDIA, and those are both now shipping. And then if that wasn't enough, we decided to prepare and actually exhibit at CES in January. So it's been a busy couple of months since we last spoke.
Yeah,
sorry, Chris.
No,
I'm just going to go ahead and jump in here really quick. That for anybody listening to this, if you think about and you spend time at a desk with monitors, and you're like, it would be really cool if I didn't have to have all these wires and all this stuff all over the place. If I could just connect my monitor by this cool USB thing to maybe the base of the mount, that would be really cool. The product that Jeff's talking about is that product, and you can get it in dual monitor mode. So this is my official plea to everybody at Ergo for Chris and I, and for all the audience out there listening. You really want to get your hands on one of these things if you work from home or work in an office setting where you got multiple monitors. It really is like a fantastic union. So sorry, don't mean to derail the show right off the bat, but I'm really fawning kind of over that whole setup with all the time that I spend here in my home office. I'm like, man, I'm coveting that mount very, very deeply. So again, apologies to derail everything here right off the gate, but man, just I wanted to fawn over that little mount real fast.
I use it every day myself. It's fantastic. It makes your desktop just so much simpler to have. A docking station that you might already have a need for. Usually it's a separate piece on your desktop, but now it can just be combined into the base of something that you might also have a need for, and that's mounting your monitor to your desk. It's really a great solution.
Yeah, I love it, man.
And that's exactly where I was going to go, Jason. It's amazing that got the most buzz out of, a lot of the vendors' booth at CEDIA, is where, guys were walking through and they're like, wow, this thing it's absolutely gorgeous. And, oh, what's this desk that it's on? And it kind of led to, this larger conversation about, ergonomics. And I mean, how many times have you heard a CI guy talk about ergonomics? It's something that everybody's client wants, and not to beat the pandemic thing like a dead horse. It's, everybody's at home more, everybody's work from home or hybrid or whatever. Why shouldn't that space be, something pretty amazing? And people were gushing about this thing. Literally, have you seen the monitor mounts over here? And it's great because it kind of, it got everybody into the booth, it got everybody to see it. And I know the reaction was pretty much the same at CES too. And you guys won an award for one of the things, right? For the standing desk or for the mounts?
Yeah, a couple of them. We won at CEDIA for Best in Show for the monitor mount, and then a couple of awards through DealerScope for both the monitor mount and the Ergo FX standing desk. So it's been a good couple of months for us.
Man, that's the combo I'm looking for here at the house. Honestly, I was bugging Bill about the desk. I'm like, man, is there a salesman of the year job that I can, or is there a salesman of the year award I can get where this is the prize? Come on, that thing is sweet.
We should get something like that going, where if you cross a certain threshold, you get, free ErgoAV merchandise or something like that. That'd be great.
I'm going to go ahead and take credit for that.
For that idea.
Program, absolutely.
Yeah, and you could tell we're not influencers or anything, because otherwise we would both be, standing at our Ergo desks, just
right,
showing
exactly.
off our
well, I've got you guys playing in the background, so we're trying to make sure we highlight you as much as possible. So if you're listening to this podcast, make sure you check out the video portion of it so you can actually check out some of the background video. I've got playing over my shoulder. Literally has the dual monitor mount with the connectivity on the Ergo desk playing behind me right now. So.
It's great timing.
Absolutely.
It's very, very coincidental, Jason.
Very coincidental.
Almost like I planned it, but hey, there we go.
Jason, would that be the Ergo video playing on your Sony display? Is that?
It might be, and it's even the one that's produced by the Oliver marketing team. So we'll just go ahead and draw a big old circle around everything that we're doing right now. And we'll just keep plugging away. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do there.
So
That's how you do it.
It's kind of funny because, again, the buzz is about ergonomics and desks and stuff. And we know ErgoAV is making some great mounts and some great AV furniture. Like what kind of inspired you guys to move in that direction and, away from like typical, mounting stuff that you guys had offered before?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we mentioned the whole work from home thing. Like that's not, pandemic aside, like that was, a few years ago. That trend is not going away anytime soon. I mean, myself, like my last job I was just at before this one, I never went in the office. I went in the office once in 2 years, and that was on my last day to turn in my computer. So, and at this job, we promote like a hybrid type work environment. So roughly half and half. I'm in the office today, but I'm home half the time as well, which is great. So I think, the easy part for companies like us is to design and manufacture like monitor mounts, right? That's kind of been the one thing that a lot of companies like us do. And so we really looked for adjacent product categories that could fit in kind of in conjunction with that. So, we're dedicated to bringing technology together in a more ergonomic way. And, we like the monitor mounts because they're dynamically adjustable. You can put the monitor wherever you want, but we were just looking for a way to kind of expand into the home office area, if you will, beyond just monitor mounts. So that's kind of where the desk idea came from. It's not a new category. I mean, companies have been selling them for years, but for the most part, it's adjustable legs and a boring wood top, and that's what you get. So we wanted to think outside the box and see what else we could come up with that kind of fit our ethos of bringing technology together in a more ergonomic way.
Yeah, I mean that seems natural to me. You guys, monitor mounts and let's bring them to the desk. But I mean, really, the thing that you guys did differently was you really made it nice. Like this is not just like pipes screwed together. This is not like your standard, lifting desk. It's app controllable. It has a really great, and we'll throw the video up, but it's got a really, really cool, contact charger that spins your phone out of the desk like it's some kind of magic trick. It is just awesome.
Definitely the showstopper of the desk, other than the fact that it goes up and down. Put your phone on that little puck, and it spins around and points towards you. Like my desk here right now is listening to me talk about how much I love this other desk, and it's very sad. It's quite a nice upgrade from where you're at, and I would say, in terms of what office furniture costs, fairly reasonably priced by comparison. Not to drive too much like all over the highway here, but we're big fans of the product outside of obviously representing you guys for all of our marketing. I like the strategy. I like the product lineup and the diversification. I think one thing that I wanted to touch on in this conversation is how do you get the standard AV integrator, that the guy that's the dyed in the wool. I'm the AV guy hanging TVs and stuff like that. How do you get them to push the message of Ergo and offer those solutions to customers? What do you think like the big touch point is for our guys to grab onto when they're offering furniture or offering a desk or something like that to their clients?
Yeah, I think part of it is just to think about and encourage people to think just beyond like the living room or family room, right?
Sure.
I mean, a lot of people have a home office these days, either by luxury or by necessity. It could be a separate dedicated space in the house. It could be a multi-purpose room that they're using for other things, but that area has largely been ignored. It's primarily about getting video and audio distribution up and running throughout the home, right? So that's the main focus. But I think knowing that companies like us have a bigger catalog than just TV mounts, or maybe some companies also offer AV racks and things like that, but thinking beyond that for those touch points that you could use in a home environment like that. So I think the home office is maybe not as big of an opportunity as the home theater, but it's definitely something that's adjacent, that's in a very high percentage of people's homes these days.
Just seemingly fertile ground. You can absolutely add things to your proposal. And what's nice is, you're taking care of a need for a client, right? Like you're bringing the stuff in, you're setting it up, you're the technology guy. Well, okay, why doesn't that extend to the home office? It's kind of a sort of a recurring theme with folks that we've talked to on this podcast so far, and just in general, is that we're all kind of looking to get into different areas where we can play to our strengths and might not be conventional: lighting fixtures, indoor air quality, that sort of thing. And this is a very natural. Sorry, Jason, I'm distracted because Jeff is literally on the TV behind you.
Oh, sorry.
I have a moment.
The video if you want.
It's weird watching yourself in the background.
It's all good, man.
A black hole is going to open up over all of us, and we're going to be teleported into a vortex or something.
That's it, right? Yeah. But it makes a lot of sense for an integrator to kind of look for any way that they can get themselves more inserted into a project. Now, really, I mean, obviously the television mount market is fairly saturated. There's a lot of producers out there. You have your Snap AVs of the world, you have your Modern Prices of the world. There's, clients who will just literally go on Amazon and pick whatever, 13 consonants in a row can get here, prime overnight. How, aside from the really cool flagship projects like the desk and the monitor mounts and that kind of thing, like how do you guys, how do you differentiate yourselves in that kind of saturated market?
Yeah, it's a good question. The market definitely is crowded in both the desk and the TV mount area. I think, first and foremost, it kind of starts with the people. A lot of us have been in the industry for a long time. So, a number of us used to work at a company in the business called Stannis, a big company in the TV mount space. And so a lot of us are alumni from there. And so it kind of starts with the people and the passion. We've been, like I said, in this business for a long time. I think collectively we have over 100 years of experience in the AV industry, which, saying that out loud seems like a lot. Kind of makes me feel a little old at times. But so I think it kind of starts with the people, and kind of with that is the ability to listen and work with your customers, right? I think that's a big part of it. Me personally, I've been in the product and marketing space for about 20 years. So I really believe in being able to adapt and listen to customers and kind of, in some ways, build solutions together, right? That solve a need for that customer, or remove a pain point for that customer. I think that's been a lot of fun. On the product side, playing in a crowded space sometimes those constraints can lead to innovation, right? I was a part of the team that helped develop a number of patents in the TV mount space. So being familiar with that landscape kind of makes you think differently. For example, a lot of people in the TV mount space, when they go to adjust the level on the TV, they do that from the very top of the TV. If you've ever mounted one over a fireplace or something like that, that getting kind of up and over the TV and behind it, that can be a bit of a challenge. But that's the way it's been done because that's the way the design has been done. So us, as kind of a newcomer to the market, we took that kind of constraint, or that, what some people would look at as a constraint, to kind of approach it differently. So our level adjustment mechanism on our new extended tilt mount, that's done from the side. So you just extend the TV away from the wall, and you can go in right from the side with a screwdriver or Allen wrench, whatever tool you need, and make that adjustment there. So I think that's one example of kind of how we're trying to attack the market. And then the other things that we're really trying to focus on is ease of assemble. We talked about the desk earlier. That's probably one of my favorite parts of the whole desk, is the thing that you can assemble that in under 15 minutes. It looks great. There's a ton of great features like you talked about earlier, but really there's only 8 screws to put that entire thing together. You open up the box, you have the desktop there. The desktop is fully assembled, the drawers in it already, the power strip's in it, the wireless charger mechanism is in it. All that's good to go. You simply connect the legs, connect the power cords, and then you screw in the feet at the base of the legs, and that's it. That's all the assembly you need. Wow. So it's
not
really
IKEA, not even remotely IKEA.
No. Kind of we're trying to go for the antithesis of that, right? So
Good.
It's like,
I think about my days of like some of the furniture I've we'll put it in quotations, premium European furniture that came, where you're screwing it together yourself. And I'm like, there's not a lot of premium things.
Got a lot of those.
Exactly. Oh my God, I have a whole drawer in my toolbox. It's all the same size Allen wrench. I think it might actually be the same.
Like a copyright.
Exactly. They're not 10mm sockets, unfortunately.
Right.
I mean, the phrase time is money has been around for a long time, but from my experience in working in this channel, it's like that hour or two difference can be the difference between getting 2 jobs done in a day to 3, or
Sure.
getting 5 done in a week to 6 or 7. So that those little things can add up over time, and so just trying to add that kind of value is what we're going for, outside of just making some really cool, innovative things.
Yeah, that and again, it's in the dealer's best interest, right? For sure. Like all the points that you touched on, ease of installation, more time on the job site to deal with either other things on the same job site or other things. If you can hang a TV in 15 minutes, that's time that you'll spend on, calibrating an audio system or calibrating the TV itself or whatever else. And it's just get in, get out, get it done, do a great job. That's the name of the game. We've all got to find ways to be more profitable, and efficiency is definitely, kind of low hanging fruit for a lot of guys, especially with the right products like you guys. So,
right. And like on kind of that efficiency subject, like we showed it at CEDIA, but the new line of folding furniture we have coming out, that's another example, right? Where it's
I was just thinking about that, literally. Like how much easier do you get than just fling it open, kind of like, not
yeah, I mean, we're
it's amazing.
We're taking on the I'll call it a burden of assembling the frame at our vendor, right? So that ships to the customer fully assembled, folded up in this neat little package, and then you open the box, unfold it, put the shelves on, and you're done, basically. So that saves on assembly time, that saves on logistics costs, so we can fit either more on a pallet or we can UPS ship that to people if we need to. So it's a win-win for a number of people.
And it looks great. I mean, it's, maybe, collapsible furniture, and, it doesn't open like an umbrella or anything. It's, it's an A-frame and it comes out, but I mean, it looks great. Right. You would never know that it's, collapsible. It's kind of a perfect solution for, apartments and that sort of thing, just right out of the gate. But to, in a regular, full-time home, just being able to set something like this up, and then if you want to turn that guest room into something else, you can fold this thing and put it away. You would never know that it's foldable. It's really, really slick. But I mean, I would imagine that your time in this industry, and again, with your former employer and being part of these patents and stuff, this is all kind of stuff that you guys are working on. Seemingly constantly. Like, it seems like you guys are constantly trying to innovate, maybe a sector that hasn't had a ton of innovation, right? Like, how do you innovate furniture? How do you innovate a lift? Mm-hmm. Well, here's how you make this thing collapsible, and you build something like ISOtilt where you can, get in from the side and that kind of thing. I mean, what has been your path to here, Jeff? Did you start out as an integrator? I know you were in manufacturing, but like, what kind of brought you into this fold?
Yeah, so I started my first job in this industry, so to speak, was actually at the retail level. So I worked when I was still in school, in college. I worked at it was a 3-store chain here in the Minneapolis area. And we sold primarily audio video equipment. So the brands that we carried were Bowers and Wilkins speakers, Boston Acoustic speakers, and then we carried a lot of the Sony ES and XBR lines of products. And this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s era. And so that was kind of when I started. From there, I followed a colleague to work at Sanus. When I started there, I was our only tech support person. So we had a very small team back then, but I was writing all of our instruction manuals. I was answering the phones, things like that. And then became the company's first product manager not too long after that. And then spent about the next 7 or 8 years as the primary product person at Sanus. And so after, I think in about 2013 or so, a new opportunity came up, and I decided to leave there, and I went away from the industry for a few years. I went into the fitness and technology industry, which is kind of another passion of mine. Sure. I've always kind of been a tech geek and a product person kind of at heart. Worked there for a while, and then got a phone call from a former colleague at Sanus that said, "Hey, we're starting this new brand, this new venture called ErgoAV, and would love to have you part of it." So that was all the way back in 2022. So it's been it's been a good couple of years here.
Wow!
Yeah,
all the way back,
all the way back.
Rose-colored glasses to that time. My goodness.
Yeah, I feel like it's, the pandemic years have a different, makes time feel a little different, right?
It sure does. Yeah, especially everybody in this industry. I know. At my time, at that period when COVID was happening, I was working for Sony. So you're in this weird kind of corporate world, and all of a sudden it's, you got to be safe, you got to do all these things, and then to come out of that, you're like, you get into an airport or something for the first time, and you've got PTSD. I was like, what do I do? You're sort of in a panic. But
it was such a weird time to be an integrator, because there were so many things, like you literally go in people's homes for your living, right? So what do? Construction can't just stop. I was in California, and how do you navigate this thing? There were a lot of integrators who build themselves as essential services, which they kind of were, so yeah, that's such a strange time.
I think it's breathed new life, though, a lot into what was, I would say up to that point, kind of a stagnant space. We've seen a bunch of new companies come on board. We've seen companies like you come on board with some different concepts, some different ideas. We've also seen some, shall we say, blue chip companies kind of starting to fall off to the wayside because of the shift in the industry. So do you have a feeling or maybe a look into the future of kind of where you think you want to take ErgoAV? I think with obviously some of the things you're doing in the channel business wise, I want to ask that question as well. But where do you see Ergo moving? Do you see us going super up market, taking the whole thing over? What's the game plan, if you can share some of that with us?
Yeah, I mean, I think our primary target is to be a good partner for our customers. And so right now our customer base is kind of that, I would say, that CI channel, right? That independent/regional retailer. And we're looking to build out products and categories of products that fit that need.
Relevant to them.
We're obviously going more towards the high end of the market, but I think, for us, the focus is on creating new things and innovative stuff, right? We don't want to just be like I don't get a lot of excitement out of creating a bunch of like Me Too products, right? That are the same as everything else. We want to do things better, or in a different way, or a more efficient way, or a way that eliminates those pain points for those customers. And so we've only been around for a couple of years, so I think we're still very much in that building phase, right? We're still building out our product lines. We don't have every single product that we want yet in our product line, and so and we're still kind of building new categories, like the office category that we're in. We have one really cool desk, but we'd like to build on that. What accessories can we develop? What other products at different price points can we develop? Things like that.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, and to the business side of things, you've got some industry partners, right? You guys are in with some of the buying groups and that kind of stuff. I know people get bored when we talk about program, but outside of all of the technology and outside of the mounts, this is a business, right? You're in this for profit. So, what kind of partnerships are you forging with the CI dealers out there?
Yeah, we're part of the ProSource group and the Nationwide group. So those are two of the buying groups that we're in currently.
Couple of the big ones, yep.
Couple of the big ones. So we'll actually be at the upcoming primetime show here in next month already, March. Hard to believe that's coming up already.
You get to go to Orlando? Are you going to Orlando?
This one is in Vegas.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Yeah. So, and then the ProSource CI Summit also coming up in March. Also happens to be in lovely Las Vegas. So,
we can see all your friends. You can kind of get a twofer onto that one, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of part of it on the buying group side. But we we just want to be an easy company to do business with. That's some of the feedback that we've heard from other companies in the industry, is that sometimes doing business isn't always as easy as it should be. So we want to make things as easy as possible for people to do business with. If you want to sign up to be a dealer, you can do that on our website. You can, once you're approved and through that process, you can order products on the website, at dealer cost and things like that. We like to pass on any logistics savings we have. So every unit that you order from us outside of the furniture is prepaid freight on one item. So you don't have this big volume or dollar threshold to get prepaid freight. And if you order a case pack of product, we'll give you a discount. If you order a full pallet of product, you'll get a discount on that, up to 7.5% on the pallet. So
wow.
Our belief is that if we're just driving the forklift to get the pallet and putting it on the truck, we don't have to do anything extra. We just pass that savings on to the customer. So
yeah, so for the production integrators out there, here's your cue, right? Like you can, you're going to sell X amount of TVs a year, X amount of displays a year, and you're going to need X amount of brackets to hang those displays. Why not sign up with Ergo and, get a little bit more gravy on it? If you're part of a buying group, you're just multiplying, you're layering the return on your investment there. So that's a huge one.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. That whole pre-positioning and that kind of thing, like you never know when a job is just going to kind of fall in your lap, right? Like you might be working on a builder's house and this guy needs a TV hung. Well, it's great. I don't have to wait 2 days to get them out or a week.
I've got a bracket right here. Yeah.
Let's go. Boom.
Yep.
Super cool. So we're coming up close to the end here, but before we wrap up, Jeff, is there anything else you want to share? You have any other thoughts you want to share with our very small band of CI audience here?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of give a quick overview on us, I think we are, like I said, we were founded in the fall of 2020. We're based out of the Minneapolis, Minnesota area, so we're a prideful Midwest company. Common connection between a lot of us employees here is that a number of us used to work at Sanus, so kind of reuniting the gang.
The mountain business.
Sure.
Yeah, kind of, if I'm being honest, build it our way, right? So
sure.
We're really focused on building that retail-based business. We're largely focusing around the independent and regional retailers. And, we're in basically two main product categories: the AV accessory space, so TV mounts, tabletop TV stands, TV carts, AV furniture, speaker stands, etc. And then office products, so standing desks and the monitor mounts as well. So I think, like we talked about earlier, I would just encourage people to think of opportunities beyond just the living and family room. We've had a lot of positive feedback of interactions around our office products, and I think that's something that can just go overlooked sometimes. So I think taking the whole home into consideration when either bidding on a project or scoping out the work on a project, I think that's something to take into account.
Agreed.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about those sweet Sonos speaker stands that you guys have got. Like, those are cool. Like I think some of the, again, I'm the traditional, I'm the dinosaur, right? I'm the old AV guy that, drove around doing theaters and doing music and stuff like that. But when I see some of the products that you guys have, like here's a speaker stand that very minimalist, that's purpose built to mount your Sonos speakers in your room as rear channels or just kind of blend into the background. We didn't even talk about that. So that's my bad, but I took the shot. So we did talk about it, so I can check out this. But man, I love your offerings. I think they're great for great looking, but also great value across the board.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you. And with that product, it's, you asked how we differentiate earlier. Like sometimes it's just in the little things, right? Like for that Sonos speaker stand that we have, you want to have great audio. You want to make sure the stand is nice and level, right? So with that stand, you can adjust the level without having to take the speaker off. So the level adjustment is right on the top of the base. So you can adjust the feet like that. You don't have to take the speaker off, adjust the foot, put the speaker back on, see if it's level, and do that song and dance over and over again. You can just leave the speaker on, adjust the level, and just be done. Yeah. And it's those little details that we include in our product that we hope is a nice surprise and delight for for our customers.
I would have to say that. Yeah. I mean, again, if you haven't seen the product that we're talking about, check out the ErgoAV website so you can have a peek at what what they have to offer and some of the unique features that they're talking about. But like the speaker stands themselves are not those spindly little ones that you find at the distributor or at the local AV superstore, whatever you want to call it. They look very minimalist but super robust, and again give you that that unique adjustability that you go, oh, is this like an OEM part for from someone else or from another speaker manufacturer? Like there's a level of detail and some some fine adjustments that are included as part of the product that you would you think, oh, maybe this is like a factory part, but again, it's an accessory from a third party. So I think it's a great example of some of the innovation and stuff that you guys offer.
Yeah, it's such a complete line too. You guys have so much cool stuff in this line, and so much to talk about. Definitely reach out to ErgoAV, reach out to your Oliver rep. We can tell you about it. We can show you all the samples. We can get right in there and get you familiar and get you up to speed as a dealer.
Get you signed up. It's easy. Just like you said, we can send you a link. We can pass the sniff test with your local rep. Make sure that you're not opening up your own online distribution model solution, and let's get you set up with some cool furniture that can't really cross shop and give you some unique products that aren't offered from other vendors.
All right, Jeff, it has been an absolute pleasure having you with us today. And learning more about what ErgoAV is all about and what it is and how to help dealers with it. It's really great stuff. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and your innovations and your history. And, we look forward to speaking to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, and nice to catch up.
All right.
Good talking to you, Jeff.
Yeah. To our listeners, thank you for joining us again on Inside Integration. Please subscribe, please like us. It's if you don't like us, leave a comment, please. We can
do better.
Yeah, I also sustain myself on the tears of haters. So please, bring that vitriol to me, baby.
Yeah, give them all the venom. Give me all the flowers and candy. I need that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.